I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors back to order, please.
Supervisors Frost. Here. Kennedy.
Here.
Natoli.
Never left.
Cerna.
Here.
And Peters.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So back to the landscaping screening condition change.
Yes, we have something to propose, and Flo is going to work on putting it on the screen.
Yep.
I don't know. I can't. Leanne, could you really lean into the microphone on these?
Sure.
We're having real trouble hearing you.
Yeah, this mic is very quiet.
Yeah.
Maybe come to it. Yeah.
I'll talk loudly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Do you want to introduce this?
Certainly. So this would be our third condition change. This would be a new condition, reading lots 5, 6, 7, and lots 25 through 34 are subject to non-discretionary design review for landscape screening in order to minimize the visual impacts of new structures on existing lots.
Okay, and what that does is and Supervisor and I just verified on the map, those lots will cover the lots that are adjacent to the existing lots.
Hey, wait a second, what about my lot? My lot's number, I'm gonna have 2 lots behind me. I'm gonna have 36 and 37 behind my fence. And one takes up half my back
sir?
fence down the other side. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but.
Sir, 36 and 30, I'm sorry, yeah, we're not going to go back and forth, but I will say that 36 and 37 are interior lots. They're not adjacent to Silver Springs. They're interior to the project.
But I'm still gonna have homes behind me, right butting up against my fence.
Okay.
Okay.
So the intention is, I will say one more time, that provides a landscape buffer between every lot that is directly adjacent to Silver Springs' existing homes. Thank you. That's, so,
You are. So did you have another
yes, I have
condition you wanted
another,
to change?
actually, I'm going to change a condition after giving it a great deal of thought and speaking with some of the community members. And rather than my number 3, which had 1 through 7 and 10 through 34 to be single story, to condition the entire project to be single story.
No.
And other than that, my motion is with the proposed recommendations.
I had a minor tweak, and I can't remember the language, but on the first one that you recommended, you referenced the Public Works Department and DOT. There is no Public Works Department.
Yes, that's right.
So I don't know if you meant Public Works Agency or just DOT, but we should just be clear.
What would you recommend, Mr. Penrose?
Public Works Agency and DOT. That's
Okay.
fine.
That's your motion?
That's my motion.
Second it.
Okay, yeah, I'll come back to you, Mr. Natoli. I just want to make sure that planning is clear on all the conditions and the changes.
Yes, we are.
Okay? Mr. Natoli would like to speak to the motion.
Yes, I would. Thank you, Madam Chair, and certainly out of deference to my colleague who district the project resides in, certainly he put forth a motion, and it's been seconded, but I guess I'm going to offer some comments, and certainly in opposition to the motion that's on the floor. I think that we've had some pretty compelling recommendations come forward. Obviously, the decision rests with this board. That's been clear. And I would just say that when you have a Community Plan Advisory Council that comes forward with a 6-0 vote, and we have 65 people present, and all but one of those people are in opposition to it, that's pretty compelling. You have a planning staff that's done an analysis relative to neighborhood compatibility that looks at, and again, being that the area is a mix, but I think has done an analysis about the size of the lots, and granted clustering is allowed under our ordinances, so that's not something that couldn't be asked for. But as I asked about earlier in the hearing, the fact that the current zoning with the restriction that doesn't allow for the development, which was agreed to by the developer, that wasn't forced on them. They brought forth an application, as was stated, that's before us today properly, but they agreed to the condition that said it would be open space and subdivision would be prohibited. This board's being asked to change that. The motion on the floor is suggesting that we do that. I argue to the counter. I believe that the opportunity here is for this board to say that the condition for all the history that goes behind this is sufficient to protect that lot. It may not provide for this third-party conservation easement that's now more the norm than not, but it does say that until this board decides otherwise, and we may do that today based upon the motion that's on the floor, that lot is restricted to open space and subdivision is prohibited. And I would argue that by clustering, that the developer is gaining the return on the property that would otherwise, when the previous proposal that met significant community resistance some years ago when they wanted to do AR1 lots on the entirety of their property. I don't think that the half-acre lots are compatible with the area. They will be pretty much out of the ordinary for the general area. And that, I've heard as much about this project probably as just about any project we've heard in recent years. And much of that's been in opposition. It's been thoughtful. It's been relative to prior board actions. And I would just argue that we ought to stay the course. Yeah, some group of folks may have to come back before this board or a future board at some other time under some other development scenario, but that it's not inappropriate and it's not out of sequence for this board to say what they meant in 1991 might have been a bit vague, but what was in the language was very clear, that this Lot P was restricted to open space and the subdivision was prohibited. Now, and I think that the right that's reserved here, and I appreciate Mr. Kennedy's diligence certainly in reviewing this. It was, again, he came upon this board, and that was one of the first things he said he was confronted with. But I respectfully disagree that there's any necessity from a housing standpoint or any other standpoint when we've got 5,900 units that were approved in the Vineyard Springs Community Plan. We had a report yesterday that said within the Vineyard framework with Florin Vineyard Gap, North Vineyard Station, and Vineyard Springs, there are some 22,000 lots that are anticipated. So for not having 48 units on this particular piece of land that, again, I think people have come to believe, maybe wrongfully in the way it was represented to them, but I think the expectation that this would stay in open space should be met, and that this board should keep that faith with the folks out there and say no to the application before us. I intend to vote no, and I would argue that to my colleagues to please join me in doing so. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else wish to comment? Okay, we have a motion before us with a second. Please vote.
And the motion passes with Supervisor Natoli voting no.
Thank you.
Bullshit! Jesus! You guys are supposed to represent us? What kind of joke is this?
Great job, Kennedy.
Okay. Is there any other business before us? No. No. Meeting's adjourned.